Welcome to the Thriveology Show. I'm Lydia Atlas, and today we're going to talk about why you're gaining weight and it's not your fault. Now, do you feel like your body suddenly started gaining weight, even though nothing major changed? I want you to listen closely today because this is where most women begin blaming themselves. They think, I'm eating too much. I have no discipline. Something is wrong with me. But what if I told you? What if I told you this is not a willpower issue? This is not a motivation issue. And this is not a character issue. This is a biological shift happening inside your body right now that most women are never taught about. And once you understand this, you will stop fighting your body and start working with it. So let's look at what is actually changing in your body. So let's start with the science, which clearly shows us that during perimenopause, one of the first changes is not a steady decline in hormones, it's actually hormonal fluctuation, up and down, almost like a roller coaster. So we see this especially in estrogen, which rises and drops unpredictably. Then we have progesterone, which gradually declines, and then cortisol becomes more reactive. Now, here's something that most women don't. Estrogen is deeply connected to metabolism regulation. And it also influences insulin sensitivity. And it affects how your body stores. So when your estrogen becomes unstable, which it does, your blood sugar regulation becomes less efficient and the body becomes more insulin sensitive in some phases and insulin resistant in other phases. And then the fat storage patterns begin to shift, especially towards your abdomen. Now, here's a fun fact. Fat cells are not passive. They are endocrine organs that actively respond to hormone signals. Meaning, what does this mean? Your body is not adding fat randomly. It is actually responding to biochemical instructions. So now let's go a little bit deeper. When these hormones become unpredictable, the brain interprets this as a form of internal instability. And the brain has one priority and one priority only. And as we know, that is survival. So it will activate protective mechanisms. The stress response in a woman increases. And then we see cortisol rising, blood sugar spikes more easily. Your appetite signals start to intensify, increase. Fat storage becomes more efficient and effective. And if we look at this, this is not dysfunction. This is adaptation. This is adaptation. So from an evolutionary perspective, right, cortisol is designed to help the body to store energy, to preserve resources, and of course, to protect against perceived scarcity, right? So when your body feels hormonally unstable, it does what it was designed to do. It conserves energy. Now let's talk about hunger. Why you feel hungrier. So many women will notice that they're starting to develop cravings, increased cravings, especially for carbs or sugar. And that feeling of not feeling satisfied after eating becomes more noticeable. And this is not an emotional weakness. This is physiology because estrogen influences leptin, your satiety hormone. And cortisol increases ghrelin, which is your hunger hormone. Okay. Now, when estrogen fluctuates and cortisol rises, you will feel hungrier even if you've eaten enough. And here's an important truth. Your hunger is not broken. It is hormonally driven communication. Your hunger is hormonally driven communication. Now let's address the most frustrating part, which is why is it going to our stomachs? Why? Out of all the places, right? And this is what shows us right now that belly fat, visceral fat, is highly responsive to cortisol. And this belly fat has more cortisol receptors than other fat areas in our bodies. It is metabolically active fat used for rapid energy storage. So when our stress hormones increase, the body prefers abdominal storage, not because it's failing you, but because it's trying to create quick access energy reserves for survival. For survival. And abdominal fat is one of the body's fastest energy banks. It is biologically designed for emergency access fuel. Now let's connect this to something most weight loss advice ignores. Your nervous system. When your body is in stress mode, aka sympathetic state, your digestion slows down. Your insulin sensitivity decreases. Your cravings increase. Your fat storage increases. When your body is in safe mode, aka parasympathetic state, your digestion improves. Your hormones regulate more efficiently. Metabolism stabilizes, and your cravings decrease naturally. So the real question is not, what diet should I follow? It becomes, does my body feel safe enough to release weight? And here's the most important shift. And here's what changes everything. Your body is not resisting you. Your body is merely responding to signals. So instead of restricting harder, pushing more exercise, fighting your appetite, being on these yo-yo diets, being on specific diets, using pills, using shots, using all these fads and gimmicks, the deeper and the healthiest and most natural solution is regulating your nervous system, supporting hormonal stability, and reducing internal stress load, reducing that cortisol response in your body. Because as we know, when safety returns to a woman's body, the body no longer needs to hold on. So let's simplify everything now. During perimenopause, we see the hormones fluctuate, metabolism shifts, cortisol rises, fat storage increases, hunger hormones increase, appetite rises. The nervous system becomes reactive and the body stores more energy, fuel, hence fat. None of this is your fault. All of this is biology. So if your body is changing right now, during this transition, during this new phase in your life, it is not betraying you. It is communicating with you. And the moment you stop fighting it and start supporting it, your body begins to soften again. Not through force, but through safety. We cannot force change. We facilitate change. And we cannot fight biology or physiology. But if we understand it and we support it and we know how it functions and how it works, and it becomes our ally, it then starts working for our best interest. We don't need to fight the body. The body works for you 24/7 without you having to lift a finger. Yet, when you go hand in hand with your body, respect it, understand it, and truly understand what's at the core of everything and appreciate your body and allow your body to feel safe and go out of that survival mode into thrival mode, out of that stress response mode into the safety mode. The body will let go. The body will release that fat. You will start to self-regulate hormonally. You will start to release excess weight. You will come into balance. The key is how you treat yourself and how you understand your body. So, if this made sense to you, grab my free guide below, Puberty Rewind, where I give you inside information from a holistic perspective of what you can start doing immediately to support your body through the phase of perimenopause into menopause. And this new transition and phase in life that works with you and gives you all the tools and techniques that you need to be ahead of the game, to be a teaming mate with your body, to have a successful mind-body relationship, and to have an easy transition, because as we know, perimenopause and menopause can be very difficult when we do not have the knowledge and the tools of how to do it simply, efficiently, effectively, holistically, naturally. And like I said before, we cannot force change, we facilitate change. And we facilitate change with knowledge that goes in tandem with the way our body works. And once we have that knowledge and these tools, we can put them to practice, to use, and the way we look at everything just begins to fall into proper place. And that takes away the shame, the guilt, the fear, right? The self-rejection, the loathing, the misunderstanding of the change in our bodies. And we begin to see this from a complete different perspective and lens. And we learn to start to appreciate our bodies, be respectful, be grateful, be gracious towards ourselves. And key in allowing this new phase in your life to flow effortlessly is knowing how to navigate these waters without shame, self-condemnation, being restrictive with yourself, feeling like you've lost yourself, your identity, because of the way your body looks now. And we need to erase this because your body is doing what it is meant to do. The key is giving your body now instructions of what it can do better to support you so that you can be at your healthiest, that you can live optimally, that you can feel good in your own skin, and that you don't need to be a statistic to the masses of women that are suffering during this phase, to the masses of women that feel that their bodies are morphing and are unrecognizable. And you can understand why the weight gain is not your fault. As we said at the top of the show, it is merely a biological shift happening in your body. So go ahead, please grab your free guide below, Puberty Rewind, and share it with your fellow sisters who are also in this phase of life, who need the tools that can carry them forward so that they can help their bodies work for them efficiently and effectively with ease. So thank you for joining me. See you next week for our next episode. Blessings to you.